Ever since interest rates started creeping up in 2022, many buyers have been sitting on the sidelines waiting for home prices to crash. And they've waited and they've waited. And while we have seen the typical seasonal price adjustments down over the span of the year, what would you think if I told you that median home prices in Wake County, that's the county that's home to places like Raleigh, Cary, Wake Forest, and Garner, North Carolina, have actually gone up year over year? And how much would you venture to guess they've increased? But before I give that away, if you're new here, my name is Matt Martin, and I'm a Raleigh-based realtor. I've helped tons of clients relocate to the Triangle region of North Carolina, and if you're looking to do the same, I'd love to help you too. So now that I've given you that brief intro to come up with a guess, where'd you land? 1%, 2%, 5%? Well, from March 2023 to March 2024, the median single-family home price across Wake County went from $502,000 to $560,000, a whopping 11.6% increase. This is the largest year-over-year increase since November of 2022, which may not sound like a long time, but think about it this way. For the last year plus, prices have barely moved at all, with an average of just 3% in price fluctuation. So for them to suddenly jump to 11.6% year over year is significant, and it starts to tell a story that buyers have gotten off the sidelines and jumped back in, and competition is coming back to the market. But I made a whole other video about competition coming back, which you can check out here. So this video is instead going to be about which parts of the Triangle, and specifically Wake County, have seen the most price appreciation in the last year, and which have actually seen price decreases. If you're the cut to the chase type, here's a full list of cities in Wake County and their overall price change year over year. But if you're more of a nitty-gritty person, then we're gonna get along great. Come along with me as I break it all down. Let's start with the city that saw the most price appreciation, and that's Apex, North Carolina, which experienced a whopping 25% increase in median single-family home prices, from $602,500 in March of 23 to $755,000 in March of 24. Not only is the median home square footage up, but so too is the price per square foot, which is driving the massive price appreciation. Another contributing factor is demand outpacing supply, as Apex had nearly 50% fewer homes for sale in March of 24 versus the prior year. So those properties that did come to the market sold quickly and for more money. Since Apex is growing so much, I wondered if the steep price appreciation was driven by new construction sales, which tend to carry a higher price tag, but there were actually nearly 30% fewer new construction homes sold this year versus last. So it's mainly larger resale homes demanding more price per square foot that are most responsible for the appreciation. Next up, we have the capital city, Raleigh, which saw its median single-family home price increase 17% from $455,000 in 23 to $535,000 this year. This is pretty much all driven by appreciation, as the median home size remained pretty flat. But one zip code within Raleigh really blew the others out of the park, and that's 27608, which is home to neighborhoods like Hayes Barton, 5 Points, Sunset Hills, and Bud Lee. If those sound familiar to you, it's because they were all part of my most expensive neighborhoods in Raleigh video, which you can find right here. 27608 saw its median sales price increase a whopping 50% from just over $800,000 up to $1.2 million due to a threefold increase in home sales over $1 million. So not only are high-end buyers coming back, but so too are high-end sellers. Moving on to number 3, we have Wake Forest, which grew 16% from a flat $500,000 last year to $580,000 this year. While the median home size went up slightly, this growth is mostly driven by pure price appreciation. As with 27608 zip code of Raleigh, Wake Forest saw a nearly twofold increase in $1 million plus sales, despite there being fewer overall sales this year versus last. Many of these were new construction homes, which experienced the lion's share of price appreciation year over year. However, even resale homes were up about 13.5%. So it again highlights not only a general trend in price appreciation, but also more movement in the more luxury sector. At number 4, we have Knightdale at 15.1% appreciation, from $410,000 last year to $472,000 in March of 24. This one doesn't surprise me in the least, given the massive investment in Knightdale recently, including in new communities like Knightdale Station and Glenmere. This is all part of the general trend we're seeing of expansion into areas east and south of Raleigh, which historically weren't as developed as they're further away from the main economic hub of the Triangle, the Research Triangle Park. However, as work continues on the I-540 outer belt line, which will eventually create a 70-mile second outer loop around Raleigh, accessibility for these once remote communities is going to be completely transformed. Partner that with lots of available land for new housing developments to cater to the ever-growing population, and it's easy to see why we saw so much appreciation in Knightdale in the last year. And the last community we'll discuss from an appreciation standpoint is Cary, which increased nearly 11% from $650,000 in March of 23 to $720,000 this year. Now, if you've watched my videos before, you know that Cary is one of the hottest neighborhoods, not only in the Triangle, but in the entire state. In fact, Niche.com rated it the #1 place to live in all of North Carolina, so it's pretty inevitable that Cary would be on this list. Even with all the expansion we're seeing to the east and south, Cary still remains in high demand, and not just with new construction. In fact, the price appreciation year over year was fully driven by resale homes, and really expensive ones at that. March of 24 saw 2 homes in Cary sell over $2 million, whereas the top price at this time last year was just $1.5 million. So the story continues of the luxury sector of the market really heating up across the Triangle. Rounding out the list, we also saw moderate price appreciation in Zebulon, Holly Springs, and Lindell, but I'm not going to dig into those. Instead, let's talk about the top 3 places in Wake County that actually experienced price depreciation. Now, don't get your hopes up here. While these cities technically showed lower median home prices year over year, it doesn't actually mean prices have gone down. And I'll explain why over the next 3 communities. The community with the highest percentage of price depreciation was Rolesville, which saw prices drop about 11% from just over $550,000 last year to just under $500,000 this year. Now, this is a little misleading since it wasn't really pricing that changed at all. In fact, the median price per square foot stayed totally flat. But we just saw more smaller homes sold this year versus last, down about 500 square feet. So while I wouldn't read too much into the 10% price depreciation we see on paper, it is interesting to see that price per square foot didn't really budge, indicating somewhat of a stall in Rolesville prices. Next up, we have Morrisville, which also dropped about 10% from $655,000 last year to just over $585,000 in 2024. Again, this is a bit misleading as median price per square foot actually increased nearly 10%, but we saw a higher concentration of smaller homes sell in 24 as compared to last year. Also, we're looking at single family home data here, and Morrisville is definitely more jam-packed with townhomes and condos. When you factor in all housing types, the median home price actually increased 13% year over year. So what we're really seeing is just a small data set of single family homes that aren't telling the full story of the community. And finally, we have New Hill, which showed a median price depreciation of 8% from $659,000 in 24 to $605,000 this year. Just like the previous 2 communities, New Hill's median price per square foot actually didn't drop year over year. In fact, it went up about 7%. But again, we saw significantly smaller homes sold this year versus last, to the tune of over 500 square feet in size difference. This was primarily driven by some extra large homes sold last year in the Jordan Point community, including multiple over 4,000 square feet. So That's a quick wrap up of where we've seen the largest price fluctuations year over year across Wake County, North Carolina. The story is pretty clear to see. After a year of buyers waiting on the sidelines for interest rates to drop, they've now started to venture back in, coming to terms with the reality that the days of 3% rates are likely going to remain in the rearview mirror. Not only that, but we're seeing more people transacting at the $1 million plus price points. So are you surprised by any of the results? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're considering a move to the Triangle region of North Carolina, I'd love to be your guide. You can reach me by phone, email, or text, and all my contact information is included right below. And if you like this video, I have a whole library of other videos all about what it's like to move to and live in the Triangle region. Hey, there's one right there that you can click on to keep watching.